Hello, hello. This is Kim Addis from Frame of Mind Coaching, and today you are joining us for the Frame of Mind Coaching Podcast. And I have with me, again, my friend, a senior coach with the Frame of Mind Coaching team, Dave Gorham. Dave, welcome.
Hi, Kim. I can't help but smile when I hear your intro.
Well, I'm happy you're here with me again today. It's always fun to talk to you. It's easy and it's enjoyable.
Yeah, I agree.
So what's been going on?
Oh my gosh, lots of going on. We talked earlier about sharing, stories with each other, both friends and colleagues and coaches, and it made me start thinking about my experience at the last Methods.
Before you start talking about your experience, explain what Methods is, because I don't think everybody knows what Methods is.
Okay, so I might be off brand with my explanation as usual, because I take Methods as a selfish, continuing education and connection opportunity. So I would describe it as a workshop, as a seminar, as collaboration, as a way for me to connect with the people that I feel are family, but then also new colleagues, coaches, and also dive deeper into frame of mind principles and get to be a better frame of mind coach. So that's the way I would describe it.
Okay, so that's a perfect way to describe it, but let me just step back and help everybody understand what it is. So
yes.
Frame of Mind Coaching Methods, is a 4-day long event that takes place in Toronto. And we invite FOM clients who have been through coaching to come and join us so that they can go further in their development personally as leaders, as parents, as friends, but also to start to learn a little bit about how we coach and take those coaching skills to apply them in every aspect of their lives. So if they're executives, they use those skills in their workplace, as entrepreneurs in their businesses, again, as parents with their children, and they apply them in every little nook and cranny of their lives. And so what we often have is brand new people who come to Methods, but we also have experienced coaches who come back year after year after year to continue their development. So you were just about to share with us an experience at the last Methods event.
Yeah. So the idea of me going to Methods is really to kind of keep that connection going. So I always meet some great new people that I wouldn't have otherwise have met. I mean, I've heard their name from you and some of the other coaches talking about either wins or challenges with their clients. So it's nice to actually see and meet some of the newer people, whether they move on to be a coach or not. So I had a phone call yesterday. So Methods was what, in April? May, yeah. So I had a phone call yesterday from one of our clients, a woman that attended Methods, and I had offered her, to talk and be there to extend out her, traditional coaching aspect, right? And we all do that. So that's part of what we do is generosity. And it comes easy for me because I tend to attach myself to someone in a room or maybe 2 or 3 people that I feel, I don't feel that they need help, but something triggers in me that I need to talk to that person. Yeah. So she was one of them. We'll call her Betty.
Okay.
We'll call her Betty. She was one of them. And admittedly, she's not my style of person. She wouldn't be someone that I would necessarily gravitate to as a friend, right? But there was something about her in the room that just said, I need to talk to this woman. Because I think there's something I need to share. So that was really interesting to me because I didn't know what it was. So, fast forward, she reaches out and calls me or emails me and said, hey, can we have a talk about what you had said to me? Because I struggled with it. I struggled with the exercise. I struggled with the idea. I'd like you to explain it. So I said, of course. So we scheduled a phone call. We had a phone call, caught up a little bit. And she admitted a couple things, which I think you'll find interesting in coaching and how we pick clients or how clients pick us. And they know they need to have a coach and then also being a coach. But she said, I tried the exercise and I failed at it, and I thought it was you.
What
She
was
was,
the exercise?
it was,
I need more detail.
yeah. So it was something very, very elementary that we did years ago that I keep doing if it makes sense for the client. It's a list writing exercise. And it seems simple. And when you start to implement it, it gets scary for people. So it's just real quick on a Sunday night, you on a big board and you write down everything that you might have to do or want to do over the course of maybe a week, a month, your life. And then you take the 3 top things from that, you write it down on a note, you throw away the poster that you made, which always freaks people out, right?
Yeah.
And you take those 3 things, and that's the promise that you made to yourself, that you got to do those 3 things. That's it. Nothing else is important.
Right.
So I took responsibility. So she failed, right? She struggled with it. It was painful. She said, Dave doesn't get me, in her head, right? All these things. Dave doesn't get me. And she missed one important thing to do that week. So that was her litmus test of a failure, right? So like any person, a coach in this situation or a client, she wants to know more. So she called and wanted to know, why am I feeling this way? And she even struggled with whether or not she should reach out, which was it's a big thing for clients. Like I tell my clients as they're done, I just had a client that just finished, and I said, you are a client for life. Within reason, you call me, you text me, you email me, be on the site, off the site, and I'll make time for you.
Right.
Not that Betty was my client, but we do that with everybody, right?
She was mine.
She was yours, yeah.
She was mine, yeah.
And that's fun to do, right? Because it actually makes us better as coaches and people.
Of course, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So when we take on a client, yes, we coach them for a period of time, but we regard those clients as lifelong connections, lifelong clients in a way.
Yeah.
People we serve for a lifetime.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So she struggled with whether or not to even call you.
Yes. And being a client of yours, I would imagine, plus being at Methods, she would have gotten the rhetoric of get help, talk.
Yeah, reach out.
Extend the conversation. Yeah.
So this goes back to the last conversation we had, which was, why is it so hard for us to reach out? Not only when we need help, but just to reach out.
Yeah, you're right. That's exactly what we talked about last time.
Why is it so difficult for us to pick up the phone and say, hi, do you have a few minutes to talk?
Yeah.
Very quickly, I want you to continue the story, but I'm going to just kind of take a little diversion.
Yeah, go ahead.
I think it was about March. I reached out to this young man that I was introduced to, who's a speaker, phenomenal speaker, really charismatic, and who has done an amazing job of teaching a team of people to speak. And I reached out to him saying, hey, I know that you've accomplished this goal, and I'm on this journey to teach a couple of people to speak too. I'd love to talk to you and learn about your process and how you did it. I didn't hear back from him until today. And when I didn't hear back from him until today, there was a whole bunch of story that I told in my head that said, I'm not that important. He doesn't like me. He met me, but he dismissed me, and all this kind of, let's call it crap that went along in my brain. Well, today he literally sent me a message saying, oh my God, this was in my spam box. I didn't see it until today. Of course, I'd love to talk to you.
Right.
Okay. So continue with your story.
Yeah. So that's the story, right? We're not worthy of, right? Yeah, exactly.
We're not worthy of bothering someone or reaching out.
Right. Or when we do and we don't get that immediate response, we make up a story as to why that immediate response didn't come. Right.
Right.
And funny thing in this story and the list writing exercise is there's a little nuance to it that is about what you just said. It's about worry, right? So worry being, a misuse of the imagination. We can imagine as many bad things as we can good things, but we tend to easier to move towards the negative side of it, which is, it's detrimental, right? And it's also, it slows you down because here you are 5 months thinking just a little bit, I'm not worthy, or just a little bit like, what does he think of me? All that stuff. So there's Betty, our client, feeling
And you
that.
know what else happens? Then you
What?
start to get angry, like, screw him.
Yeah. Yeah.
If he doesn't want to talk to me, then I don't want to talk to him either.
I'm not worthy. Wait a minute. He's not worthy. Yeah, exactly.
Right. Who does
Exactly.
he think he is? He thinks
Right.
all that.
Right. So reading into Betty, like she now, so it's May, June, July, so it's 2.5 months. She did the exercise right after methods. So she's been mad for 2.5 months, right? And she's smart. She's very smart. So she's smart enough to know that the mad is not really mad, right? She's smart enough to know that it's not my fault. It's not her fault. Something's up. So she got the courage and she reached out. Anyway, that was the first thing she said was, I struggled with asking to call because that's part of my issue. And we talked a little bit about that. And she said, I struggled with calling also because it was simple to me that this exercise wasn't right. It failed. You didn't get me. And it just made me uncomfortable.
Right.
And that's when I stopped and said, well, if you think of yourself as a coach now, that's your indication. That's a clue, red flag, that's something to poke at right now. It's not the exercise. It's what made you uncomfortable in the exercise that's important, right? So it's not about just, oh, that makes me uncomfortable, I got to go do it. It's a little bit more about what is it that made me uncomfortable, and I want to dig into that. So we had a pretty good conversation about that. But the interesting thing I thought about the list writing exercise, to kind of come full circle, is that in me helping her understand the theory behind it, for me, it's very intuitive. So I would give it to my clients. I'm able to work with these clients over a 6-month time period. With her, I didn't get that. And I realized, holy shit, there's gaps in my, I guess, teaching, right? So education. So it gave me an opportunity to write down while I was talking to her points. And I said, Betty, get a pen. This is why you do the exercise. It's multifaceted. And you as a client now thinking yourself as a coach in your business with your employees, you have to recognize that any one exercise is multifaceted. So funny thing is, as I go through it, I have her write them down. And at the end of the phone call, I said, I want to thank you because I never thought about this much. I took my coaching a step further because I had to write this down. And you're the first person to get what I just wrote down as something that is new. So I had to thank her because that was something that she honored me with.
So there's a whole bunch here that I want to kind of
tons, right?
Hone in on. Number one is when you are asked for help, it's a great honor.
Yeah.
And what people believe is that when they ask for help, they're bothering someone else.
Yeah.
They're infringing, they're imposing, they're, stepping into territory that is unwelcome. And that is far from the truth. So when somebody asks me for help, that is a great honor. And for me, it's a privilege to be able to help someone, especially if they think I can help them.
Yeah, right. That's the honor right there.
Yeah, because a lot of times we don't know if we can help people all the time, right? We coach people for sure, but sometimes we're going into territory that we're unfamiliar with.
Mm-hmm.
And when someone has faith in us and believes that we can help them and they ask us, we want to be able to serve.
Yeah.
Right? That gives us purpose, that gives us meaning, and that gives us a sense of great fulfillment and satisfaction.
Yeah.
So when you ask someone for help, you are bestowing a gift and honor. Don't think that it's an imposition or an infringement. That's thing number one. Thing number two is, if you need help, ask for it. There are so many resources available to you. Tap into them. And as a leader, as an entrepreneur, as a parent, whoever you are, we often think that there are resources that are unavailable to us because we're uncomfortable asking. And so truly, the amount of resources available are unlimited.
Yeah.
And it's up to our creativity and perhaps I could even say courage
Yeah.
to tap into those resources.
I think courage is a great word, because it's less courageous to be such an individual that you think you have to do it yourself.
Yes, it's true.
Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah.
And then the third piece of it, and I think this is a big piece, is that when I can help someone else, not only am I receiving the gift of being asked, but I am learning as I give the help. I am growing, I am stretching, I am becoming a better version of myself.
Yeah.
And that is magical.
Yeah. That's what happened. Was this yesterday? Yeah, crap. It was yesterday.
Yes.
Legitimately yesterday. That's what I got out of it was, the next time I see a client that might need this actual exercise, I have more depth to it, shaved off the rough edges and actually made it bigger. And one of the things when you were just talking, it just reminded me, when I was talking to her, I got a little teary-eyed, so I would never admit that. Because as I was explaining it to her, it was clear to me that the reason why she stood out in that crowd at Methods was because there was something about her that reminded me of the old me that I was still carrying around. It was guilt, it was procrastination, and it was hyper responsibility, to be specific.
Yeah.
And you actually going, 12, 13 years ago, you're the one that probably more. You're the one that used that word, made it up, hyper responsibility, to me, and it stuck. So when I was talking to Betty, I love Betty. When I was talking to her, all the old feelings came up. Guilt, responsibility, or hyper responsibility, procrastination, angst, and worry came up for me, but it came up in such a way that it was less emotional and more witnessing it.
Right.
Yeah, I wasn't owning the emotions. It was just something that was coming up. It was really kind of cool.
So with this particular client, for me, because I've been working with her for several years, she's one of my most favorite, most cherished clients, because every time she comes to the table with guilt, worry, fear, anxiety, whatever it is, I just want to wrap my arms around her and squeeze it all away. Right. And that's what happens. That's what gets ignited in me.
Yeah.
Right. Like this just feeling of absolute warmth, love, tenderness with this particular client.
Yeah.
But let's go one step further. And I think this is a really important step. So She reached out to you, you helped her, you grew. But now what happened between you and Betty?
Oh, we made a pretty big connection, right? So so what I think she did for me, what she did for me, and now that I think about it from yesterday and what we're talking about today, is she's given me, not that I needed it, but the permission to call her, because there's certain things I know I can get from her that would help me, whether it's in business or coaching or whatever. So that just kind of opened that door, right?
Right. So what you did is you built a friendship.
Yeah, right.
So, and I want to step back, because a lot of times lately, a lot of the discussion is around the subject of that people feel isolated,
Right.
disconnected, lonely. There's a lot of discussion about how, yes, we're connected on social media, but we spend so much time on our own, and we're watching other people's lives and feeling that our lives aren't sufficient, aren't fulfilled, aren't enough, right? And so there's an interesting, I don't want to call it solution, but there's an interesting opportunity here to connect with others by simply asking for help.
Yeah. It's the aspect of feeling separate, right? As if I feel alone and independent, I'm separate from you. If I ask you for help, I am with you. We're together. We're the same. So that's what I think for me and Betty happened, in that she got over what was stopping her from asking for help. And now we're the same. We're not independent.
So let's go back to the beginning of your conversation. You said she's a person that's very different from me, someone that I wouldn't necessarily gravitate to.
Correct.
And so look at how that has suddenly perhaps changed.
Yeah.
In getting to know her better. You realize, hey, maybe she's not that different.
Yeah.
Maybe actually she's a pretty interesting person that I might now gravitate towards knowing her a little bit better.
Yes. She is not separate from me. She is part of me. Yeah. Yeah.
Right. Super
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah.
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 So the takeaways are that this whole idea of reaching out to people is not an imposition. It's a welcome opportunity for the person you're reaching out to make a difference in your life. So reach out, ask for help. This is also an opportunity to really connect with someone else and to not live a life that feels so isolated, distant, and disconnected. And it's also an opportunity to give someone else the chance to grow, to stretch, to learn, right?
Yeah.
To be someone more than they currently are.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? So it's a big, big idea. I think it's an amazing conversation we just had.
Yeah, me too. Coming from just immediately something that happened yesterday. It's just, that's amazing.
Exactly. And so what I want to do is I want to invite anybody who's listening to learn more, not only about frame of mind coaching, but about Methods. Methods currently is a program that's designed for existing clients. So I encourage you to learn about how to become a coaching client. But beyond that, one of the things that we've been discussing is hosting an event for leaders that doesn't require them to be clients first. So if that's something you're interested in, please reach out. What we do at an event like this is teach you how to become a better, more effective leader. So I invite you to come and check us out, learn about us, come to frameofmindcoaching.com and look around. Read, listen to videos, and ask us some questions. We're here to help you.
And smile. You make me smile. So it's a good day. It's a good day.
Thanks, Dave. Thanks for doing this with me.
You're welcome. It's fun.
See you later.
Bye.